Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to my broadcast. Uh, while most of the time, I talk more about trauma, general trauma, and health issues. Today, I want to talk about some business stuff, specifically authentic branding, what it is, and why you usually need some coaching to really get to your authentic brand. It doesn't, while you would think it just would be natural, sometimes we have blocks that get in the way of authentic branding. So, what is authentic branding? It's basically where your brand is being true to who you are, whether it's a uh, business brand or your personal brand, whether you're using it as an executive in your workplace or as an employee in your workplace, or you're a small business or a large business and you want to align your brand more authentically with yourself, with who you are, what you represent, and also to be more honest. So, when you put yourself out there in a very honest, transparent, and forthright way, you need to have some courage, because when you do that, that means people get to see your flaws. They don't just get to see the good stuff. You show your underbelly a little bit. Um, Puppy analogy. You get to show your underbelly and let people scratch it because they want to make a heart connection. People, people right now um, have been marketed so heavily to with such polished, refined, invasive marketing um, that they that the trust of brands is at an all-time low. So in the past, small business owners really tried, and employees and everybody really tried to look sophisticated and polished. You know, people now want a heart connection, especially, after they had a chance to sit back with COVID and kind of reflect on what is of value to them. Instead of just go all the time, people have time to really look at things. And if you look at the videos or Instagram posts or whatever that is really popular, people without makeup, with their hair messed up and looking scrubby and having an oops moment, are the most popular. And why is that? Because we can see ourselves in that. We can connect with that. That feels real to us, and we can trust real. We don't always trust sophisticated and polished, because that means it might be done by somebody else. And that's why, because we're removing our armor, a lot of times having that ad agency come in and really like create something for you is an armor that we put on. If we put that power suit on, I mean, sometimes people still need to wear their power suit, but sometimes that power suit, that makeup, the hair, there's something that we default to feel less vulnerable and more powerful um, in front of an audience, whether it's an audience of one, an audience, your boss or your team or the public. It's our armor that we put up, and or our protective shell that we encase ourselves in. This professionalism. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be professional. But what does professional mean to you? Does it mean saying all the right things and having the right look? Or does it really have a deeper meaning to you? Does it mean being consistent in what you offer? Being consistent in your quality? Being consistent in your integrity? That you are doing what you say you're going to do, and when you don't, you let people know, I messed up. Here's an oopsie. Let me make it up to you. Um, what does authenticity mean to you? And a lot of times, to be authentic means that things are real and things are vulnerable, and that your boundaries, you're not protecting yourself with these shields that actually, if you think of armor, it's pushing people away. You open up your heart, you open up yourself to make heart connections to clients and customers, and in doing so, you will rely on boundaries instead of shields. So boundaries are something that you put thought into. They're something that you are conscientious about what your boundaries are and how you're going to react when somebody crosses the boundary. You've come up with a game plan. You have a strategy for that. Shields are something that we do unconsciously. They are a fallback or a go-to, a behavior that we've learned over time that we might not even realize we're adopting. I was told by my sis that in my videos I tend to be too professional and not as goofy as I am in real life, not as funny, not as authentic, because apparently authentic Eva is a little goofy. She said embrace the weird. So when I act truly professional, she sees that as a shield. And maybe I am a little professional, but I am also a little weird. And I am practicing for myself to embrace a little bit of that weird. You know, that doesn't mean we don't strive to be better. For instance, when I make these videos, I strive to do better at them by doing less annoying things like, you know, and stuff like that. The filler language that reduces communication and understanding, but are a crutch. I hope to do that. I don't hope that I look so polished like I'm a spokesmodel or something. Not that it's bad to be a spokesmodel, obviously. That would be amazing if I could do that. But I really hope that I come through as just somebody that's a trauma coach that helps small business owners connect with their clients a little bit deeper. So that is why we need coaching sometimes to really connect with our authentic self, because first, we don't always understand when we're armoring up, what that armor really looks like, and how to take it down. Because taking it down means that we face our fears head on. We learn, we dive a little deeper in ourselves and learn where our boundaries are. Sometimes we don't always know because other people are telling us this is how you behave and this is what you should find acceptable and this is what you shouldn't. But that's really something that you should explore for yourself. And if you're a brand, you're a business, that's also something that you explore for yourself, and possibly in conjunction with your team, where you're doing group coaching sessions, you're doing group sessions where you interact and really dig deep and draw out what is authentic, what the boundaries are, what is, and how to react. That way it's consistent across the board. If you have a client that's overstepping a boundary, that you're not treating one client different than the other, and that's where trust falls apart, because you're not living up to your expectations 100% with everybody, or close to 100%. We're all human, so nothing's ever 100%. When you've got, interaction with people. But the important thing is to be in your integrity. Having healthy boundaries is important. Having healthy boundaries as individuals, having healthy boundaries as a company, as a brand. For instance, let's talk about what a healthy boundary as a company might look like. Discounts. Discounts is a big boundary breaker for some people, and to have an open discussion with your team about where discounts are offered and who they apply to, and that they're applied consistently across the board, is important, because you don't want to be offering discounts to one group and not the other. You'll see this a lot in loyalty programs, where it's not really based so much on who you are, but how you interact with the client, with that company. So a popular person doesn't always come in and or rich person, I get the discount because I know so-and-so. It's more, I shop here regularly, so as a reward for shopping here, I get a discount. So that would be a boundary for a business that people don't cross. Another, way that boundaries would work for a business is who you serve. For me personally, as a coach, I have to be careful who I serve. For instance, as a trauma coach, I do not necessarily want to serve close friends and family. And the reason for that is, as a coach, I need to be able to separate and hold space. I try my best to bracket and not bring my influences, my judgment, my programming into my client space. It's really more about them finding their own answers. So I try to bracket, which means that I remove my viewpoints as much as possible. It's not going to happen 100%. And me personally, when I coach, I like to share snippets of stories of how I've overcome something, but I also like to bracket that around other techniques that have worked, so a client doesn't just go, oh, I'm going to do that because she said to do that, because that's not what it's about. It's about really connecting to say, yeah, I get it. I understand what you're going through, and this is what I've done, this is what worked for me, but this is what other people have done, and it has worked for them. So, giving that, I might get a little emotional working with somebody I'm very close to if it, touches me the wrong way. I should not be working with family in trauma. Now, do I work with them and maybe a cleansing diet? Yeah, that's a little easier. That's not as deep, and I'm not going to get emotional about it. But if I'm doing deeper emotional work, yeah, boundaries are important. You want to keep friends and family kind of at a distance, and you want to keep your clients a little bit out of your personal space, because it doesn't serve them. As much as they are awesome and amazing, it doesn't serve them to the fullest if you get too much into their space. So you want to make a heart connection, but in some fields you don't want to get too close and blur those boundaries, because it's important to have healthy boundaries. You want to open a very honest heart connection so that they understand what your boundaries are. It doesn't mean that you don't have them. It doesn't mean that you welcome everybody in fully like you would family members. It means that you're honest about what you stand for, what your integrity is, and what your boundaries are, and you communicate that clearly and consistently. So that's where, coaching comes in, first to define what it is, and then to possibly work through things that come up when you're defining it. A lot of times deeper things will come up, and whether you're working individually with a coach to overcome those fears of or childhood traumas or whatever comes up, to work through them to a point where you feel confident enough to be authentic. Or as a team, you might be given workbooks and exercises and the skills to work through it, and maybe the support or pointed in the right direction where they can get additional help if they need to. Because it's important, when working in a team, that you have that integrity, that you have healthy boundaries, that you have that clear communication as well. Because to stand in your authenticity, to be consistent with your personal brand or your company brand, means that you have the courage to be you, you have the courage to be honest, you have the courage to show some of your flaws, and you have the courage to hold healthy boundaries. So that is why I offer the Authentic Branding Coaching Program, not just authentic branding. I can give you some tips like this is authentic branding, do A, B, and C, but the deeper work of really exploring what it is for you and how you implement it it doesn't require a coach, but a coach can get it done faster for you. So that is my few words on authentic branding. If you have any questions about this, whether it's authentic branding or just digging deeper to get in your integrity, and maybe if you just want to work on being more confident at work, or overcoming some fears, I'm here for you. Give me a call, DM me, or we can chat online or offline. I would love to answer your questions. So again, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you. Bye.